The mattress exhaled beneath me as I rolled toward her in the dark, the sheets still warm from where her body had been. My voice cracked the silence like a dropped glass. Do you love him? Aisha's breathing stopped. Not slowed, stopped the way a deer freezes when headlights find it. In the blue glow leaking through the curtains from the street lamp outside our Gulshan Iqbal apartment, I watched her shoulders lock, her spine a rigid line under the cotton nightgown I'd bought her last Eid. She didn't turn. She didn't answer. The hush that followed was heavier than any scream. I'd come home early from the office, the air conditioning in the bank still clinging to my shirt, planning to surprise her with the new gold bangles she'd eyed in the mall. Instead, I found her phone buzzing on the kitchen counter, screen lit with a single name. Zain. The preview read, "Can't stop thinking about tonight." My thumb had hovered, heart jackhammering, then unlocked it with the passcode we'd shared since our nikah. Her birthday 1408. The chat scrolled upward in a sickening rush. Heart emojis, voice notes I couldn't bring myself to play. A photo of her in the red silk scarf I'd never seen. I'd stood there between the smell of cumin from the half-cooked biryani and the fridge's low hum, reading until the words blurred. 8 months. 8 months of late meetings. Of perfume that wasn't the attar I gifted her. Of her laughing at jokes I never told. Now in our bed, the same bed where we'd whispered about naming our first daughter, I waited. The fan above us clicked with every rotation, counting seconds she refused to fill. Aisha. My throat tasted of rust. Look at me. Slowly, like someone turning toward a loaded gun, she rolled over. Her eyes, coal smudged from sleep, were wide, glassy, reflecting the neon sign of the pharmacy across the street. No tears yet. Just terror. How long? I asked. The question came out steadier than I felt. She pressed her lips together until they blanched. The silence stretched, elastic and cruel. Since the wedding in Lahore, she whispered finally. Zain was Danish's cousin. We danced. You were busy with the uncles. I remembered that night. Me passing envelopes of salami, joking about dowry inflation, proud that my wife looked like a queen in gold. She disappeared for 20 minutes. I thought nothing of it. 8 months, I repeated. The number sat between us like a third person. I didn't mean, her voice cracked. It was supposed to be one night. Then he kept texting. I kept answering. I don't know how it became this. This. The word tasted like poison. This was the woman who cried when our cat died. Who still blushed when I called her Mary John in front of her mother. This was the woman whose hand I held through 2 miscarriages, promising we'd try again when the time was right. Do you love him? I asked again, softer now, as if gentleness could cauterize the wound. She searched my face, lips trembling. I love how he sees me, she said at last. Like I'm still 22 and fearless. You look at me like I'm already someone's mother. The sentence punched the air from my lungs. I thought of the stretch marks she hid under high-waisted shalwar, the way she'd stopped wearing the sleeveless blouses she loved after the second loss. I'd told her she was beautiful every morning. Apparently it wasn't enough. I sat up, the sheet pooling at my waist. The room spun, our wedding photo on the dresser, her childhood teddy propped against the pillow, the faint scent of jasmine from the oil she rubbed into her hair. Everything screamed ours, yet nothing felt safe anymore. Get out, I said. The words surprised us both. Imran. Pack a bag. Go to your mother's. I can't. My voice splintered. I can't breathe with you here. She swung her legs over the edge, bare feet hitting the cool marble. For a moment she looked small, shoulders folded inward like a child caught stealing. Then she straightened, reached for the dupatta draped on the chair, and the transformation was chilling. The apologetic wife vanished, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. I'll leave in the morning, she said, voice suddenly calm. You'll want to talk. You always do. The indifference in her tone sliced deeper than any tearful confession. She walked to the bathroom, closed the door with a soft click. Water ran. I stared at the ceiling, counting the cracks that had appeared after last monsoon, each one a tiny fracture I'd promised to fix. Sometime before far, I heard the front door open and close. No suitcase wheels, no goodbye. Just the jangle of her keys and the hush of the elevator descending 23 floors. I lay there until the muezzin's call floated in, thin and metallic through the window. I didn't cry then. I cried 2 days later in the bank's restroom, When the security guard asked why I looked like I hadn't slept, I cried folding her clothes into boxes, her favorite emerald curdy still smelling of her, the scarf with tiny mirrors she wore to parties. I cried hardest when I found the ultrasound photo from the pregnancy we lost, tucked inside her copy of Pride and Prejudice, bookmarking the proposal scene. Weeks blurred. Friends called, I let them go to voicemail. Her mother rang once, voice trembling. Beta, she's sorry. Young people make mistakes. I hung up before the anger could spill. One night I drove to the sea, Clifton Beach at low tide. The sand littered with broken shells and plastic bottles. I stood where the waves hissed against my ankles and dialed Zane's number, saved now under homewrecker. He picked up on the third ring. Who's this? Confident, amused. The man whose wife you borrowed, I said. Silence. Then, look bro. Don't. I closed my eyes, tasting salt. Tell me one thing. Does she laugh with you the way she did with me? When she burns the roti and blames the stove. He exhaled. She doesn't burn anything with me. I ended the call. The tide pulled back, revealing wet sand that gleamed like a lie. 3 months later, I signed the talc papers in a notary's office that smelled of old paper and instant coffee. Aisha sat across the table, thinner, eyes ringed with fatigue. She wore no jewelry, not even the simple gold band I'd slipped on her finger 5 years ago. When the pen scratched across the page, she looked up. I never stopped loving you, she said quietly. I just forgot how to be the woman you married. I didn't answer. Outside, Karachi's heat pressed down like judgment. I walked away without looking back, the echo of her silence louder than any scream. Some nights I still wake reaching for the warm curve of her waist, fingers closing on cold sheet. The apartment is too quiet. No clatter of her bangles, no humming old Noor Jahan songs while chopping onions. I keep the ultrasound photo in my wallet now, a talisman against hope. Love, I learned, isn't a promise kept. It's a fragile thing that can slip through your fingers while you're busy building a life around it. And betrayal? It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just goes quiet when you ask the question you're terrified to hear answered.